What's up YouTube? Jeff back again from High on Android and DopeTechDaily.com. Today I'm bringing you guys something I'm really excited about. I finally got the HTC 10 in the house. I pre-ordered this phone on the very first day when they announced it. Looks like an amazing phone. We're going to go ahead and get into the unboxing, do some size comparisons today, and depending on how long the video goes, I may also give you guys a quick tour of the software. If the video goes a little too long, I'll put that off to a separate video. So if you don't see the software tour at the end, come back and I'll have a new video up tomorrow doing a little tour of the software. Now the box is pretty similar to last year's HTC One M9. See, they've dropped the M branding as we know. Still got this sort of dot pattern on there, texture. You see you got the specs on the back. HTC always puts those there for us. We've got the Qualcomm Snapdragon 820, 5.2-inch QHD display. You got a 12 megapixel camera with the f1.8 aperture laser autofocus. And you have, of course, the 5 megapixel f1.8 aperture with optical image stabilization around front. That's really, really exciting to see. You've got 4 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of internal storage. You do have a micro SD slot as well. You've also got the HTC Boom Sound with the high-res audio. So let's go ahead and get this thing open. You also got Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0 and USB Type-C for the charging port. So I did bring my unboxing knife. I keep forgetting it half the time, so today we'll actually have a proper unboxing if I can find the knife. That saw there. Alright, so let's just go ahead and get into the box. This plastic off, and let's take a look at the phone itself. Really excited to get this. I was really glad to see HTC put out a nice phone this year. You can see as we lift the top of the box, we're greeted with the HTC 10 right there on the front. World's first OIS in the front and the back camera. As I mentioned, very, very nice new ultra pixel cameras. Up to 2 days battery life, which I've heard is a bit of a stretch, but you guys know I'm going to investigate that in the full review. You've got the new HTC Boom Sound Hi-Fi Edition. That means that they don't have the dual speakers anymore on the front, but you do have a single speaker with what amounts to a mini subwoofer on the phone. And you've got the next generation ultra vivid 2K display. HTC finally stepped up their game from 1080p into the realm of 2K. So you see you've got the fingerprint sensor down here on this button here, and then over here it tells you you've got the power key. So let's go ahead and just remove the phone from the top, set that to the side. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's see what else we're greeted with in the box. Remove the top piece. You've got an HTC branded micro SD slim tool there, as usual. Over here we've got a charging brick, USB Type-C cable, and I believe this is just going to be some paperwork here. So let me set the box to the side. We'll take a look at the paperwork. USB Type-A to USB Type-C, so pretty standard. Nothing too noteworthy with the cable. You've got your quick charge enabled power brick, and it does say right here on the side, Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0. So that's going to be a 3.0 compatible power brick right out of the box. That's really nice to see. And then, again, we've got an HTC SIM tool and probably the warranty information in here. Let's see what else we've got. We've got some quick start guides in various languages, recommended usage, safety guide, warranty here, and some warranty manuals in some different languages, and then we've got some return labels. Shouldn't need any of those, I hope. And it also came with uh-oh protection, so they put that in the box. I forgot to grab the paper that was on the top of my shipment. So that just tells you that you've got the uh-oh protection with the one free replacement within a calendar year, just like last year with the M9. So let's go ahead and get the plastic off of here, and we'll be greeted with the HTC 10 itself. Very beautiful looking phone right out of the gate. I can tell you that I'm very impressed with the build of this phone. Let's go ahead and peel off this sticker with the regulatory information on the bottom. You can see this is the unlocked variant direct from HTC. We've got the Glacial Silver, which in the US has a black front. I actually like that quite a bit. The one in the international Glacial Silver model has a white front for the HTC 10. And you can see again the fingerprint scanner, your front-facing camera. You can see we got that single firing speaker with the USB Type-C on the bottom right there. And just overall beautiful phone. I actually love the deep chamfer that they have here on the back. It feels really nice. That curve gives it a nice feel in the hand. And you've got the textured power button on the side. Go ahead and show that off. You can see it's differentiated from the actual volume rocker, so you're not going to have any problem figuring out where the power button is. Love that. You can see you got the SIM tray right there, your camera on the back as well. Overall, beautiful phone. Let's go ahead and boot it up and see if we got some juice. We do. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the quick size comparisons while I wait for it to boot up. then we'll go through and we might do a little software comparison as well. So I know people are going to want to see this one, so I'll go ahead and put this one up front. This is the Galaxy S7 here versus the HTC 10. So you can see the HTC 10, if we sit them up side by side, it's a little bit taller. It does have a 5.2-inch screen. Galaxy S7 proper has a 5.1-inch screen. If we set them side by side, you can see the Galaxy S7, it is a bit thinner just because the HTC 10 has this curve to the back. You can see the 10 does have a camera bump that's probably a little bit more appreciable than the one on the S7. Overall, though, not too much difference in size. And then the width, the HTC 10, it's just a hair wider. It's not really that much wider, just a little bit wider. Overall, both phones feel very good in the hand. Can't complain about either one of them. You can see here the very bottom part of the two phones as well. The main difference, of course, being that you've got a micro USB cable on the S7 for charging. You've got the USB Type-C on the HTC 10. All right, so that's the regular S7. Let's go ahead and bring in the S7 Edge. Of course, the S7 Edge is going to be a bigger phone. It's got a 5.5-inch screen. So you can see, of course, the S7 Edge is taller, although only slightly taller. If we look at the width, the S7 Edge is a bit wider, although really not that much wider. You can see just because of the tapered edges, it sort of peeks out from behind the HTC 10. And if you look at the thickness, because of those tapered edges, of course, we know that the Galaxy S7 Edge is going to be quite a bit thinner at its thinnest point. So overall, though, pretty impressive for the S7 Edge, in my opinion, that it's really not that much bigger of a feel in the hand than a 5.2-inch phone. The next one, of course, I know people are going to want to see the LG G5. This is the most recent flagship phone that I reviewed that's available here in the US. It's got a 5.3-inch screen. You can see the LG G5 is pretty similar in height. I would say it's a little bit taller than the HTC 10. It looks a little bit taller. If we look at the thickness, they're pretty comparable in thickness, actually. The G5 might be a little bit thinner just because of the protruding camera hump on the bottom, on the back for the HTC 10. But otherwise, they have a very, very similar profile. And then you guys can see here on the bottom the similarities. They both have the USB Type-C for the charging. The difference is, of course, we got the speaker on my right on the HTC 10, speaker on the left there for the LG G5. But they both feel pretty similar in terms of weight. I guess the HTC 10 is probably a little bit heavier. One thing I will say, which I know is going to get me some hate from the LG fans, the HTC 10 feels so much better in terms of the overall build quality. The G5 has sort of a plasticky feel, and when you compare it to this single machined piece of aluminum, the HTC 10, you can really, really tell the difference between the two. The next phone I want to show you guys, quick comparison to, is the Huawei P9. So I just got this phone. I actually really like this phone quite a bit. You can see the P9, it's probably pretty similar in thickness. Again, because the HTC 10 has this curve and the camera hump on the back, at its thickest point, it's probably thicker than the P9. You can see here in terms of the width, you've got pretty similar width actually for these two phones. They're quite similar in width. The HTC 10 a little bit wider, I guess. And in height, you can see that they're pretty much identical in terms of height. So the same size phones, the Huawei P9 and the HTC 10. And then again, another similarity, of course, you've got USB Type-C, and you've also got that bottom firing speaker on the right-hand side of both of these particular phones. And then the last comparison that I want to do, kind of an obligatory comparison, that is a comparison to the HTC One M9, last year's flagship from HTC. There's quite a few similarities, but also quite a few differences. You can see here on the HTC One M9, you've got those dual front-facing boom sound speakers. You've also got the HTC logo on the front, which they've gotten rid of on this phone. I actually am really glad they did that. You've got a little bit of differences up top, of course, because now the dual speakers are gone. Front-facing camera, a little bit different position. They also changed the arrangement here for the power button, volume button structure. You can see now you've got that textured pattern. If I can get a sort of a close-up between the two, you can see you've got that textured pattern that's a little different on the 10, which I really like quite a bit. And then if you look at the back, you can see even more differences. See, they changed the shape of the camera, also the side on which you have the flash. You still have the similar sort of antenna lines, the familiar HTC branding. There's a much more noticeable chamfer on the HTC 10 compared to the HTC One M9. And then also on this model, you can see I had gold around the edges on the silver model last year. There's no gold this year. Also, this is a matte silver right here, whereas on the HTC One M9, this is sort of a glossy, really shiny material. You guys can kind of see in the light there, the light reflects quite a bit more off the HTC One M9 than on the HTC 10. So overall, very, very nice improvements in my opinion for HTC. They did a great job overall in keeping a distinctive look. You guys can also see the differences on the bottom really quick. Some of the improvements, you can see that you've got USB Type-C now instead of micro USB. Of course, the speaker is moved down here, and then also the headphone jack has now been moved up to the very center of the phone, which was not there before. So I don't know if I'm going to love the headphone jack on the top. That's one thing that I don't particularly love about this particular setup that HTC has went with, but everything else I feel like I really, really enjoy. All right, so this video is getting a bit long, so I'm going to go ahead and end it right there with the size comparisons. Overall, I love the feel in the hand. It does feel a little bit wider than last year's phone, but that makes sense. It's slightly a bigger phone in terms of screen size. I'm going to go ahead and set up the HTC 10 with my SIM card, and then I'm going to do a quick video on a software tour. That's going to drop tomorrow. I just don't want to make this video too long. If you guys have any other questions about the HTC 10 or any comparisons you want me to do, anything you want to see before I drop my full review on this phone, hit me up in the comments. I'll be happy to get back to you. You guys can also find me on dopetechdaily.com, Twitter, Google+, and Instagram at the links in the description. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. I really appreciate it, and it does help out the channel quite a bit. Appreciate you guys checking out this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.